Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Vigilant Co Podcast. I'm John. I'm here for the opening of this thing. Man, I hope y'all's week is going well. Your day, whatever time of the day, week, month, year that you're listening to this. Hope things are going well. Hope you're staying vigilant. I'm going to keep this intro short. Basically, I just want to say hello and let you know kind of what's going to be talked about in this podcast. Brady recently has been kind of testing out weapon-mounted lights compared to just using a handheld flashlight. And so in this episode, he and Zac talk about that a little bit and just kind of tell you about where he's at in his journey with that. I know there's probably multiple opinions about whether you should or shouldn't have a weapon-mounted flashlight and things like that. I know there's a lot of different options for those as well. I have my own opinions about it. At the same time, I have no military background, such as Brady and Zac do, so I don't really have a place to say, I guess. But anyways, just take a listen to this podcast and let us know what you think about what they're talking about in this episode in the comments. Leave us a rating, all those types of things. So here we go. Weapon-mounted lights compared to handheld lights with Zac and Brady.
All right. I'm D. Brady Holly, and
Zac.
I'm with Zac here. And we're going to discuss a little bit about the pitfalls and the advantages of weapon-mounted lighting compared to handheld lighting in low-light situations. I really became interested in this because I'm going to be taking a class in November that we're going to be doing like 5 hours at night shooting long guns, handguns, and so on and so forth. And I got to thinking about it and actually have deployed some weapon-mounted lights on long gun and handgun and kind of been practicing on how to use these things. What are your thoughts on weapon-mounted lighting?
I'm actually a rookie with that. The only kind of lighting I guess we ever had or I ever really used was in pre-deployment training, and it wasn't often.
Yeah.
We were very conscious of like blindness from from the light,
Right.
Night vision.
Yeah, then we had night vision goggles and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that
So
made it a
I
little
never-
bit different. Yeah.
I never really got into it. I mean, I'm real anxious and excited to hear your thoughts and the concepts behind it. It looks pretty awesome on the web, I can tell you that.
It does. It's got a really cool factor to it. I have this as a SIG 320, and I have a Streamlight.
Clearly, it's not your conceal.
Yeah, it's not my concealed carry gun because it would be hard to stick this in your pants. But from what I've practiced in the dark and so on and so forth, is there are some pitfalls to it. Having a weapon-mounted light is good in some instances, but is not a good tool for doing your searching and such because you're pointing a gun.
Yeah.
Especially if you have really poor trigger discipline, you're going to have your finger on that trigger, which you should not ever do. That's one of the safety rules of owning a handgun is you want to make sure your finger's off the trigger at all times. But you can, bad things can happen if you're searching with your light. So myself, before I started weapon mounting lights and stuff, I've always carried a...
Is that short?
No, this is I got this from LA Police Gear.
Oh, okay.
Great light. I don't know where it's made. It's probably made in China or something like that. But I've been having this one for probably over 10 years. I like it because it has a tail switch that's kind of protected, and it has a momentarily and a strobe on it.
Right.
So and it looks like I need to be changing my batteries because it's getting kind of low. But I will do that as soon as I finish this podcast here. But there's different techniques you can use. You know, if you're not using the weapon mounted light, or use the handheld as an augment to the weapon mounted light. If you're having to search for something, use your handheld, and you can also use your other if you get into a situation where you actually have to use it. Mm-hmm. In a self-protection situation, you're probably not going to be deploying the light on your weapon. Probably going to use a handheld flashlight. I use this almost every day. I carry it on my person, and it's just part of my kit that I carry, my everyday carry stuff. Get a good flashlight. Don't go buy a little cheap one and everything else. I personally like one that has a momentary switch. Also like the strobe. Strobe is great for disorienting people. Yeah. You can actually close a gap if you're using the strobe function, because they will not know that you're closing the gap, and you may want to use a knife or or if you have a stun gun. Depends on where you live in the United States, because some states you cannot carry handguns, or they're not readily available or easily to carry. So you can actually, if you have stun guns or something like that and a flashlight, you can close in a gap and everything else. And
so I guess my question is what of the obvious pros to it is illumination. What are the cons to it? Is it on lines of what I said with a...
Yeah, I found with my practicing and so on and so forth, and it may change after November after my class, but I find that on a long gun, for your self-defense gun, you should have a weapon-mounted light on that, because you want to make sure, one of the other tenets, safety rules that you have with a handgun or any kind of personal protection or any gun in particular, is you want to make sure that you know what your target is and what's beyond it. If you have a home invasion situation or somebody, knocking on your door, you want to make sure you know who that is. Still don't want to use your weapon-mounted light as your searchlight and so on and so forth.
Right.
But you can always keep it pointed in a safe direction and use the light, just the side of the light, the peripheral of the light, and not point at anybody, to make sure it's not like a teenager who's coming in, at 2:00 in the morning, who snuck out, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure you know what your target is, and so on and so forth. One of the other cons I've discovered is if you buy a regular red dot sight that doesn't have an etched reticle in the prism, then you have to have you have to have the light on a brighter setting, because it washes it out. And then you could just wind up, at close range is probably not a big problem, but if you have to shoot at, 15, 20 feet, that you may have to do in a home invasion situation and stuff like that, it'll wash out your reticle and you won't be able to see what you're doing. So I have this particular sight on here that I am going to be replacing with one that has the reticle etched on the prism. So that way, when I do deploy the light, it's going to still have a reticle, even if it's illuminated, and it washes out the illumination on the reticle. So those are some of the things that I'm doing. I'm still learning about it also. Like you said, it's kind of a new thing. I've always, carried a handheld flashlight and, use your regular technique of holding it here. And I went to the range Sunday, and I was just practicing shooting from this position where you have like an unsupported thing.
So wrist support.
Exactly. And there's other techniques you can use. With this light, you can't do it because it has a protective situation for you, or protection for your switch. But if you do not have one of those, you can also use the palm of your hand and still grip your gun. So there's other techniques you can do. So I'm going to give y'all an AAR after my class in November, and it may change my whole perspective. So I'm going in this class with fresh eyes to see, if there's new techniques and so on and so forth. If you as a professional instructor, I'm always looking to sharpen my skills I have. And if there's new skills that I can learn, I don't want to just stay in the same old rut that I've been thinking of and think this is the only way. So that's one of the things I just want to kind of talk to you about. But we will do an AAR after the class.
After action report.
Yeah, after action report. Sorry about that. Yes. So we're going to do that and see. And we're going to follow up also with a night fire situation where we're going to actually go through this and we're going to test them out and see.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
One of the cons I was thinking of while you were talking is what about giving away your position? I mean, what scenarios? I mean, you mentioned about search, rescue, and different things like that, but
right.
That's
why
my like me thinking tactically. The first thing I thought was like, all right, well, a mounted light, yeah, it looks cool and all, and it looks pretty intimidating, I guess. But I would be so worried about giving away my position, I guess. But if things are already happening,
right,
then okay, I get that. But if you talk about like what would,
yes, and that's why you need to practice, and that's why I like a flashlight or even your weapon-mounted light that has a momentary switch. So that way you can just do a quick flash, and it'll semi-illuminate it, but it's not going to per se give your position away. In a house, it may, but you should be moving and stuff. So if you do a quick flash, then you should be moving to another location and so on and so forth, a more strategic location. But even like out and about and stuff, if it's your your vehicle weapon or something, and you get into a situation where you have to get out of your vehicle, and it's good to have a light, just in case. Another thing I like about, like for instance, this SIG I have suppressor height sights that also co-witness with the red dot.
Okay.
So if I use the light with that, I can still use my sights. On the MP5, because of the way it's set up, the sights are a lot lower for your regular, so you don't have any co-witness. And co-witness is basically where your iron sights and your optics all line up, so that way when you're looking through your optics, if your battery goes dead or something like that, you can still see your sights through the optics. So with the MP5, it doesn't do that.
Right.
I could probably do a lower mount and stuff, but it's
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So let me ask this: are there lenses, colored lenses like a red?
Yes, yes. You can actually get infrared, red, green, blue. There's a bunch of different colors. So actually, I ordered one before this podcast, a red one for my MP5, because in low lights, the red's not going to bleed out as much or give you position away, especially if you're out and about.
Yeah, the cones and rods in your eyes are affected by bright light. So what happens is when you have a colored lens, it's just, I never knew this until I got into the Marine Corps when, light discipline, and they issue us the moonbeam is what they call it, the little angled, the 90 degree. I don't think they use that anymore. But they had the different, remember?
Yeah,
you open the lens, you have all the different color lights.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we would practice light discipline all the time in the field, and it's not only does it not give your position. I mean, if you're fairly close, you will see it, but it's more for yourself. That way you could still have night vision naturally.
Right.
Well, in aviation is the same thing.
I was going to say, because you're a pilot and the benefits of having a red light to do any kind of map work and
we'll
stuff.
dim the instrument panel. Because, you have to have the light. You have to see your instruments.
Right.
But we'll dim it. And then a lot of pilots will have under the, I would guess you'd call it the dash or whatever. They'll put like a colored light strip that you could buy at Walmart or whatever. That'll be like a red, something where they have a little dial and they could control the intensity of it, and that works pretty well. And even flying, you go do a pre-flight at night, you want to use a colored lens. You don't want to use any of that. So it makes it fairly difficult, and it's a real deal. Especially you don't realize how bad your night vision gets messed up until you fly at night.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
But it's the same. It's all the same, whether it's aviation or weapons, or anything.
Well, like in the Army or Marine Corps, our military maps were all red light readable. So they intentionally changed the color scheme.
Yeah, it pops.
Because if you have like
pop on the red light.
If you have like red writing and you use a red lens, you won't be able to read it.
Right.
So they had made everything red light readable, and I'm sure the flight maps and stuff were the same way.
I'm not sure.
But you probably
I'll use ForeFlight on an iPad.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure how that works. Well, when I took pilot lessons, that was back in the 80s. So we did have
sectionals. Yeah. Well, you still train with sectionals, but ForeFlight's electronic flight bag, you could use that.
Yeah.
But light discipline, whether it's weapons, like I said a minute ago, weapons, aviation, or anything at night. I like just that in the house, lights off, you hear something, you might not want to go investigate with a flashlight,
Right.
It's crazy. Like, how when you'll go to bed at night and you flip the lights off and you can't see a thing, but you wake up in the middle of the night, you open your eyes and you can see everything like the lights on. When
like the cat eyes, So, and here's my wisdom in this, because I'm still diving into this, is whatever system you use, practice on it.
Right.
Make sure your guns are unloaded and practice with your system to make sure that it works how far your light will be cast. Because like when I go take the trash out, I bring my MP5, and but I live out in the country, so you don't want to do this if you live in like a homeowners association or something like that. But I'll flash my light to see different distances and everything else. And look, this is going to sound crazy, but it's probably not crazy, because historically it's significant. I have landmarks in my neighborhood that are ranged. So I know
the distance.
So I know the distance and everything else. So I know the dope if I have to use my 308 or something, So I know the
that's pretty hardcore.
So I know the distances and everything else. So so that's just me.
I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty funny.
All right, so that pretty much wraps it up until we actually can get on the range. Oh,
I just want to say we're not, by all means, we're not experts in this. This is something it's very new to me, and as he said, he's gonna be teaching on this soon. But we're always learning. So if you have any suggestions on different lighting systems for weapons, let us know by all means, and let's talk about it, because I think it's pretty cool, and I would like to get into that and mount, on my AR, see what I could put on it, and what y'all recommend. We're humble about it, that's for sure. We're not pros on this. We're just trying to dive into this and see where we could go with this.
Yep.
So I would say, it's a cool field, area to get into with shooting, for sure.
Well, statistically, there's a high percentage of time that if you have to use your weapon for personal protection, it's probably going to be at night.
More times, I'd say.
Whether in your home, or you could be, had to go to Walmart because you had to get medicine for your child. You could have an incident there, or even, anywhere else it can happen, Yeah. So if you have a light, whether it's handheld or weapon mounted, just practice with it, because, there's a high possibility that you could have to use it for your personal protection. So I know even you can buy flashlights and stuff that have a stun gun.
The little handheld one, the smaller one.
Oh, that was this is from LA Police Gear. It was like $54.
Yeah, I have the green one, exactly like this.
Okay, so there we go.
Oh,
scared the crap out of myself. All right.
I'm so glad I'm still recording.
Don't put that in there.
Oh,
okay.
no, it's going in. It's going in.
No.
Yeah, man.
No. Okay. So another alternative is you can get a light with a stun gun feature. And basically you have the light and the stun gun. So make sure you know the laws or check the laws in the jurisdiction where you live.
Yeah, don't go like hitting cats and dogs.
Yeah, exactly. But here in Louisiana, we can carry stuff like this, and it's not a big deal. But, you have best of both worlds. You may not want to shoot somebody.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even know it's a stun gun.
Exactly, yeah. So
element of surprise.
Yeah, so there's...
vegging out on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So, make sure you check your jurisdictions where you live to make sure that, the stuff that we have here, you may not be able to have. I'm sure in New York City, if you're watching us, you probably cannot have the MP5, whether it's especially the suppressor on it, This probably can't have that, and stun guns and stuff like that. One cool thing about my handheld flashlight is I can fly with this, and I can also use it as a bludgeon or what have you. So I can actually use this as a weapon, and TSA has never confiscated it yet. I'm saying that now, but here's what I do, and I don't put it in the tray with all my gear that goes in there. I put it in my carry-on, and they pretty much. This one's not real scalloped and everything. If you have one that's real scalloped, they will confiscate it. But so far to date, they haven't done that. Right. So I've flown all over the country with this, and it's been a great companion to have.
I mean, they would look pretty silly taking it. It's a flashlight.
It's a flashlight. Yeah, exactly. So but they've taken, they've taken weird stuff.
God forbid you fly with over the amount of ounces that they want in of shampoo.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I can tell you some TSA stories, but we'll save that for another day. So, yes, like Zach said, if y'all have any comments on what gear y'all use, let us know. And be sure and subscribe and like our content.
Yeah, it really will help us get noticed and seen if you like and subscribe.
We're doing this to help you guys.
Yeah.
Because we're going to use our experiences, our experimentation, and so on and so forth to help you guys to be safer. That's our whole goal, is to make y'all vigilant in whatever y'all do, and we're just wanting to be a source of information that we can do. Yeah. So if you help us with this, then we can produce more content and we can help more people.
Yeah, we just want to be a platform that ideas can be tossed around, and we're up for critiques. Like I said, we're not professionals in this. We did do it professionally, but we're not experts, I should say.
Right.
So we're, if you guys have any input, let us know. And we said like and subscribe. It really helps us. It really helps us get more viewers, and our content get pushed out there. Really. Yeah. Thank y'all.
All right. Yeah. Thank y'all so much. And like we said, like and subscribe and share.
Yep. Share. That's important. Share.
Yep.
Share. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Yes. Thank you.